Happy Friday, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well on this Friday afternoon or evening. I believe, yeah, it's evening. It's evening still, or afternoon still, excuse me. It's afternoon. So happy Friday. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm so happy and blessed. It is Friday and get to enjoy my weekend. And I hope everyone is going to enjoy their weekend as well. So let's get the party started. All right? All right, so let's go. Now, I watched the three-part docu series of the next the next top American Next Top Model, um, and I have to say, mm, mm, mm. Yeah, that's my word, because when I watched that three-part series, I'm like, wow. And the thing is, when American Next Top Model premiered in 2003, and I was 23, I was super excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, something absolutely different that Tyra Banks is doing, getting different, diverse young women, Black, Asian, white, Hispanic. And it's not the whole typical, model thing. Because usually with models, it's usually tall, blonde, blue eyes, blonde hair. You have to be thin, super thin, and she wanted to do something different. Now I understand that a lot of people are upset with her watching the series and watching behind the scenes, and I had no idea all this stuff was happening and going on when I watched the three-part series. I'm like, mm, mm, mm. That's what I said. I can't believe it. And I can't believe that she allowed this, especially executive producer of that show. Now, I understand, when she pitched it, because this was her idea that she thought about doing something different, because she worked in the modeling industry, and she was a model in Victoria's Secret, and I always watched her, on the runway, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing, a Black, beautiful woman, doing Victoria's Secret and doing other catalogs like sports illustrators and among other things. She broke a lot of barriers. She really did, and that's when she thought of this idea to start this reality show, the American Next Top Model. And she wanted to break all the stereotypes, the barriers, and everything, and give young women the opportunity and the chances to to be different. And I was all for it until, I'm like, and then when I did watch the series, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what's been happening behind the scenes, and allowing these producers film everything head to toe, not even editing some stuff out and leaving stuff out, and then just putting it out there. And I get it. They're trying to get ratings. They're trying to get a good show, because at that time it was very competitive. You know what I mean? And she pitched it to a lot of networks. You know what I mean? To ABC, NBC, CBS. Everyone turned her down. Everyone said no, except for one network called, I'm trying to UPN. That was the only network and the last network, and she did her pitch, and they signed her up. And sometimes you're going to get a lot of no's, and there's one yes, and that's why you never give up and you never um, stop going, not stop being ambitious and trying to achieve your dreams and achieve your goals. You know what I mean? Because you are going to get a lot of no's, and due to the fact that you get a lot of no's, don't give up, because there's a yes somewhere, and that's what happened to her. So I just want to read to you this brief article about what happened to Tyra Banks, Mrs. J, Emmanuel, and Nigel Banker. The three-part series revisits some of the most moments in Tyra Banks' supermodel search, for including instance of blackface, alleged sexual abuse, and harassment. We comforted, with these events. Banks' executive producer Ken Malk, and Banks' co-star with Miss J. Alexandra J. Manuel largely deflect of mishaps and claims eyesight is always 20/20, rendering the exercise somewhat pointless. Banks and Alexandra and Emmanuel, towards the end of the show, showruns saw what really happened and where are they now. So obviously they had a fallback, a fallout, excuse me. And in the beginning of the end, Emmanuel said that he and Banks were besties from the show Exception in 2003, and along with Alexandra, they made up the trio at the hearts of the show. However, photo shoots became increasingly controversial and offensive, featuring posing models. And as they had been brutally murdered, cover and vomit or eating disorder, Emmanuel realized around cycle 8, what they call season, in 2007, it was time to leave. Now, I did watch the reality show, and at first, the first cycle, they were brand new. They didn't have that much money. Production was very low. I would say it was low budget because it was a brand new show that they were doing in the network. And by me watching it and an outside looking in as a viewer, because I was a viewer watching that season from season cycle 1 through, I'm going to say, cycle 5 or 6, and that's when I stopped. I believe cycle 6 was the last time I seen the American Next Top Model, and then I just gave up. I stopped watching it after that, and so basically they didn't know what they were doing. They were just going with the flow. They were really inexperienced. But the stuff that they were doing, they were trying to make a show. They were trying to make a hit because at the beginning they were competing with other reality shows like Survivor. People eating rats. Fear Factors, when spiders or a bunch of insects is jumping on top of your body. You have Simon Powell telling contestants how awful they are to their face. So it was really a big show. It was like a rarity, if I'm saying it right. Yeah. So therefore, it was a big competitive to them. You know what I mean? So they really had to step up their games and prove this was a hit show. And sure enough, after season 1, cycle 2 picked up, and then that's when everything else was history, because then it started to boom. People started to notice the show, how great it was. And now watching the docuseries, there's a lot of backlash against Tyra Banks. And I have to say, yes, she should take some accountability. Watching the series and listening to her, she felt bad. However, I felt that she did not really take accountability. She did, but I just feel like she minimized it, if that makes sense. I just wish that she would just, privately, obviously she didn't have to do it in front of the cameras, to apologize to these women. Because at the time when they were contestants, they were young. They were like in their teens, working at Walgreens, working at some department store just to make ends meet because they wanted to be a model. And let's be quite honest with you guys. Modeling is a cutthroat business, okay? It's brutal. It's not easy. Nothing's easy in any industry, whether it's music, modeling, what else? Yeah, music, modeling, and what else? Being an actor. It's hard. It's very difficult unless you know people from the inside. And Tyra Banks, she's the one that opened a lot of barriers for these women. And I believe Tyra Banks wanted to prove herself as well, that there's a lot of diversities, there are a lot of women out there that can be models. It's not a typical, you have to be tall, you have to have blonde hair, blue eyes. You can be a plus size, you can be 5'7" or 5'6". It doesn't matter. If you got what it takes and you have that drive and you have that passion, then why not? And when she started out, I really liked the show in the beginning because I'm like, okay, anyone can be a model. At one point, I wanted to become a model because it really inspired me at the time. And I was only 23 when the show first came out. And I really liked what Tyra Banks represents and what she was offering to these young women. Now, with that being said, watching the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you were the executive producer, and how come you didn't have a say? Especially the other guy, Ken Monk. He was also executive producer, and you're trying to tell me you didn't have a say what happened. You had cameras all over. They were rolling film. They were rolling all the time. So, and then she even said in her own words that she was editing things. So I just don't understand. If you see the stuff behind the scenes and what was going on, you could have at least told the cameraman or the producers, like, listen, we need to cut back. But again, at the time, it was all about ratings. It was about making a hit show and pushing the envelope and having ratings. That's what it boils down to. At the same tokens, these young girls, even though they were young, they knew what they were getting themselves into as well. They read the contracts. You know what I mean? So I know this is going to be harsh, but I just don't. I feel like some of them are playing victim, and they knew the rules of the game, meaning that they knew what they were getting themselves into. However, when it comes to assault, sexual assault, that's a no-no. You know what I mean? And especially when it came to one of the contestants, that she was drinking a lot. She went to the group went to Milan, and they had a lot of drinks, and she had too much to drink. And there was a guy went in her room, and then they filmed the whole thing, and they should have just stopped that right there and then and say, cut, no more. You know what I mean? But they filmed the whole thing. They filmed her kissing, this guy kissing her, and she was just passed out. She even said she was passed out over. She don't even remember what was going on. She was like in and out. And you still have cameramen filming the whole thing, and they didn't even stop it. Again, it was all about ratings. It was all about making this show a hit, making this show a number one. And I just feel like they were not protecting the contestants when I was watching the series. Now, it also continues to say that, however, as the photo shoots became increasingly controversial and offensive, featuring models posing as they have been brutally murdered, covered in vomit, or eating disorder, Emmanuel realized around cycle 8 what they call season in 2007, like I just said, at the time to leave. In a documentary, Emmanuel explained, I really struggle over the things that happened, and it was something that was slowly depleting me, chipping away at my soul. He also explained that he and Banks had a pact that they would always tell each other before making a major decision. So he emailed her to announce that he's intentionally to leave. And he said she got a response at first. Well, let me start all over. And he said he got no response, at first. Then 3 days later, she replied just 3 words: I am disappointed. I am disappointed. Then he claims that his lawyer said that he was asked to do one final series. However, upon returning to the film, the news cycle, Banks, allegedly ignored him unless the cameras were rolling. That have to be so uncomfortable and so awkward. You tell your friend that you've been friends with for a long time, and you guys made a pact with one another. If you feel a certain type of way, if you feel like you're going to quit, or you're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about leaving the business, let me know up front. Don't do it behind my back. Don't tell the press. Let me know face to face so we can have an open discussion. And that's what Jay did. He did exactly what Tyler Banks wanted him to do if it came to that. And sure enough, he did that. And this is the response that he got: I am disappointed. And then you were cold and nasty and distant to the man who was just being honest and transparent with you, and basically told you how he feels, respecting your wishes instead of going behind your back so you wouldn't be blindsided. And this is what you repaid him for you to act like that? Shame. You know what I mean? I would feel weird and uncomfortable and awkward if someone did that to me. Like, I did the right thing by communicating with you and reaching out to you and said that I'm thinking about quitting after this cycle. And the only thing you can say, first you ignored me, and then you responded 3 days later, and then you responded with, I'm disappointed. I don't get it. And he was just being honest and transparent with you, and you got nasty and cold with him. Then it continued to say, on camera, me and Tyra learned to play and laugh. He said, but it was just clear I was not allowed to speak to her outside of that. And that was the beginning of the end. Then it continues to say in the the firing line in 2012, and Emmanuel, Alexandra, and photograph judge Nigel Banker were all cut from the show. For my birthday, Tyra sent me a flowers, Alexandra said, and then I was fired 5 days later. Banker noted that he left the trade and added it was difficult because I didn't have a backup plan at that point. I had been on Top Model for 17 seasons. Can you imagine 17 seasons and then you got blindsided and you were fired because I guess the new producer, the new network from UPN, the woman who was in charge, she left, another gentleman took over, and I'm just paraphrasing here. And then I guess he didn't like the three gentlemen because the rating was flopping. But the funny thing is, after Tyra Banks let those three men go, it was still the ratings were still going low. It was still plummeting down. So it didn't really matter. You know what I mean? So they did a boo-boo on their part. And it's just crazy. But I'm going to show you a video of Emmanuel, Alexandra, and Nigel Banker, on Sherry's talk show, and how they explain to Sherry about the whole falling out of Tyra Banks and the whole Top Model. Take a listen.
Accountability. It's been a lot of backlash online and everywhere. What should Tyra do?
Well, wow, yeah.
Actually, she should answer the questions.
She should answer the questions that they ask her.
I mean, look, I'm not her publicist.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure who her publicist is, but that being said, you know, I think the reality is, and how we approached it, is just to be absolutely honest with it, and it's okay. It's okay to admit that you made a mistake. It's okay to say, I'm sorry. It's okay to go, it wasn't right. And I know that, and we all know that. None of us are perfect. We were trying. There were lots of mistakes. Some things perhaps were even for...
Oh, sorry. Not for nothing, Tyra Banks did apologize for a few things. However, to me, it didn't look genuine. To me, it looked fake and gay. Again, I don't know her true heart. I don't know her true motive, but it didn't look sincere to me. And I agree with Nigel. We all make mistakes. We all fumble when it comes to businesses or whatever we do or what we're trying to do, and then we pivot, obviously. But then you own up to it and you apologize and go, listen, we effed up. You know, we take accountability. And to me, she did own up to it towards the end. You know what I mean? That you should call out people's shit, and I agree. You should call out people's shit and people's bullshit when they do things, and then they learn from it. But I just feel like, has she learned from it? Because it seemed like she didn't reach out to certain people from the contestants from the American Next Top Model. You know, from the women that were on the series, on the documentary, and then they were giving their stories. And I don't feel like they got an apology from her. You know what I mean? I just feel like, for me, watching it, coming from her, from Tyra, it just seems like a performance to me. It seemed like her publicist told her what she should say and how she should react to certain questions. That's what I'm getting by watching that. I feel like she was not very sincere about it. I feel like it was just a little bit performance to me.
Errors, right? As in, you know, what happened with Shandy, what happened with various contestants that shouldn't have happened.
I remember that day like it was yesterday, watching the show. And Shandy, in the documentary, expressed her pain over a sexual encounter that was filmed. Now, Mr. J, did you ever feel like the show went too far?
Well, you know, for me, that Shandy scene was just devastating. She was the girl that in my mind, I was ready for her to win.
Right.
You know, you even see it in the doc. We're shooting in Verona, and she's winning.
She had it.
She's winning. She had it. I was in the production office when we got word of what was going down. I was devastated in the moment. And what I'd like everyone to just think about for a minute, because Shandy says this in her interview, she said, someone said, hey, how about the guys come over? Now, as someone who worked on that show, I could tell you the girls couldn't plan the next 5 minutes of their lives. They were following a directive. So who is the someone? That's the question. I'll leave it out there. I kind of know roughly, but the point is, someone presented that. But
So Nigel, and being a father of two, did you ever feel like I didn't do enough to protect, or you tried to do as much as you could?
Well, I mean,
you didn't know about it.
I don't know. So that's the thing. Ultimately, as judges, we were actually kept quite sort of separate from what was happening. They wanted that on purpose, so that their everyday lives sort of played out outside of it, and then we would come to judging, and we would just see their best photograph. We would kind of get, they would tell us about what they did. They did a photo shoot, they visited this, they did go-sees. We wouldn't know what happened behind closed doors, as you wouldn't in real life. If you go to a job interview, you don't tell everyone all your dirty laundry,
Right, yeah, right.
You basically go in there and you try and get the job. That's what that moment was for, right? I watched the show like everybody else did and saw what happened to Shandy on TV the way the rest of the world did. I didn't know the behind the scenes, all the things, the fact that production allowed this, didn't allow that. And because there was no social media, it didn't get out to the world. However, watching that now, I don't care whether they signed away the rights of their life and to say that the cameras could follow them. As a responsible adult, as a decent human being, you clearly do not let two young people who have got drunk go to bed together and film it as if that was somehow okay. It was not.
I agree. It was not okay. And they continued to do that. They continued to film while Shannon was intoxicated. She had a lot of wine that night. And the producers should have cut, the cameraman or whatever should have wrapped that up and said, no, we're not filming this. But they continued to film this. And I agree with Nigel. It was absolutely wrong. Yes, they signed a contract, they signed a waiver, but still they should have protected these girls. And I feel like they didn't. And I feel like at the end of the day, by me watching the docuseries, it was all about ratings. It was all about ratings and boosting this reality show because they were competing with a lot of competitors out there at the time. And like I said, it was very taboo with the whole modeling agency and the whole modeling reality show. It was never been done before until Tyra Banks started this new era. So I agree with Nigel. It should have been stopped. They should have had at least a contract that if things get too far, then production stop, the camera stop rolling, and that's it. But they didn't do that. They didn't protect these young girls. And I really feel bad for them. At the same token, and this is no excuse, I just want to make that very clear, there's no excuse for sexual assault. They didn't know what they were getting themselves to at the same time because this was brand new to everyone, especially Cycle 1. They had no idea, Cycle 2, excuse me. And it was just absolutely wrong and disgraceful. And I feel like what Nigel said, that was just a big part, not getting the coaches involved. I think they separated that purposely. Just me as an observer looking, a person looking outside and saying that they didn't want them to be involved. Because I feel like if they were involved, I believe some of the coaches would have stepped up and said something about it, period. And I'm just saying that's a fact. Now the next video, the next clipping, just gnats. I don't know where they're coming from. I know where it's coming from because I opened the door and I should have for my dog. This is another clip of another video of the American Next Top Model. Take a listen.
Refuse to have your gap closed. Do you really think you can have a CoverGirl contract with the gap in your mouth? Yeah, why not? This is all people see. It's easier as beautiful CoverGirl. It's not marketable. I don't want to completely close.
And I have to say, in season 2, I didn't really like the fact that Tyra Banks said that because a woman that have a gap is beautiful. That's something that God gave to certain people to have a gap. And I feel like a woman that has a gap is a beautiful thing. It's part of their features. And for Tyra Banks to say that to this young woman, Danielle, saying that you're not going to be successful if you have this gap. You're not going to, doors are not going to open for you. It's completely wrong. And I feel like in this cycle, this season 2, I feel like Tyra Banks shifted because I feel like in season 1, she didn't know what she was getting herself into. She was new at, doing everything, especially being an executive producer. She didn't know. As anyone that starts a business, you learn as you go. You know what I mean? You're going to make mistakes. You're going to, things are going to not go right the way that you wanted to, but you pivot and you just learn as you go. And I feel like once season 1 did really well and they made a lot of money, then season 2, I feel like she shifted a little bit, Tyra Banks. She shifted and then she was not the same person I believe how she was. And then she was just like trying to change certain contestants. And I just didn't like that. And I didn't like the fact that she was trying to change Danielle's appearance because God gave her this gap. And I believe, and then for Tyra to threaten her and say, well, if you don't close this gap, then you're not going to be the next American top model. I don't think I'm going to pick you on the next round. And I just didn't like that when she said that to her. And when people that's young and driven and passionate, they really want this, they're going to do whatever it takes to get it done.
Well, I guess she just left the gap wide open for another girl, baby.
I agree.
When Tyra called my name, she was like, so if I decide to keep you, are you gonna get your gap closed? And then that's when I was like, so what you're saying to me is, if I don't get my gap closed, you're gonna send me home.
Get them teeth done?
Basically.
All the way. Completely. I think all the way.
And so I decided to play the game, and I got my gap closed some.
And the irony is that a few seasons later,
We love your teeth.
Tyra's like, we're gonna widen that gap.
We'd love to exaggerate
Yeah.
that and take you a little bit more to Lauren Hutton.
Make it as big as you want it.
Isn't that crazy? So in the next season, Cycle 3, she wanted the contestant to have a bigger gap, like the model of Lauren Hutton. It's just like, again, and a lot of people, when a lot of people saw that, Tyler Banks got a lot of backlash for that. You made this other woman, Danielle, close her gap when she didn't want to. You basically manipulate her, telling her that if she didn't do it, that doors are not going to be open for her. Then the next season 3, Cycle 3, that you told this other woman, well, she's white, that you want to open her gap even more. Not a good look. And she got Tyler Banks got a lot of backlash for that. She really did. And I just feel like that was very distasteful, and is very it was just not a professional look in my eye when I was watching that. This next clip of Tyler Banks and Emmanuel, and how they had just falling out, and until this day they have not spoken to one another at all. And then when one of the producers asked Tyler Banks about did she reach out to Emmanuel, and she didn't want to talk about it. She didn't want to talk about it at all. And listen to her response and her reaction when that question was asked to her.
To being asked, is she ready to speak about what happened between her and myself?
Can we talk now about what happened with you and Jay?
I should call Jay. I don't want to do this here.
To yourself.
Yeah.
My phone number's the same. She knows it. I have not gotten a phone call, but I don't think I will get that phone call, to be honest with you. And I'm not expecting it. In Tyra's world, and this can speak to everyone in Tyra's world, you don't leave Tyra. Tyra leaves you. If I never spoke with Tyra again in this lifetime, I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with it.
He says that, and I believe him. However, he's hurt, because they've been together from the beginning. You get what I'm saying? And for him to be blindsided and be fired like that, it can be hurtful. It really can, because he wanted to leave. He had he thought about leaving. He even went to Tyler Banks, to talk to her privately and say that, I'm thinking about, leaving cycle, I think 6, I believe, cycle 6 or cycle 9. And she was not happy about that. And then next you know it, you blindsided and you fired the 3 people that really were with you from the beginning, and you don't reach out. So I understand what he's saying, and what Jay's saying, excuse me, I say Emmanuel, that's his last name. I can understand, but I know that he's hurt at the same time. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. But again, he's not losing sleep, and he's okay with if Tyra Banks don't reach out. I think he's content with that, and he's okay with that. But at the same token, I believe he's really hurt, just his reaction and how he's reacting to it.
Don't need it.
Do you miss the friendship?
I don't.
I don't know what to say to that. It's to me, it's like a yes or no. He kind of do, but he don't. But it's hard, when you've been friends with someone and that friend betrayed you like that publicly and fire you like that. Yeah, you'd be turned off, and you don't want to reconnect or be friends with that person ever again. I get it. You know what I mean? But I think he has, and this is just me, an outside looking in. I think he got mixed emotions about it. But anyway, you should definitely check it out. It's called, let me see it. I can't even figure out the name, and I should know the name because it's right in my head. But I just want to mix up the words. I just want to tell you the title of it. Sorry, you guys. Give me 1 second. I should know this. So it's called Reality Checks: the American Next Top Model. You should definitely watch it. It's a 3-part series, not that long. It's very interesting, and it gives you a behind the scenes what really happened. And I have to say, it's disgusting. Okay, as a viewer, it's very disgusting what they did to these young girls, recording everything that they have done. And again, at that time, it's different now with reality shows. But at the time, they were young girls. You know what I mean? Just record every move that they were making. And even though it was not on social media, thank God, but still, they recorded everything that they have done in the rooms that they were staying, the hotel rooms that they were staying in, and everything. And they didn't stop it. They didn't stop production. They didn't edit anything. And again, it was all about good ratings at the end of the day. I feel like, in my opinion, it was not protecting these girls. It wasn't. And you have some of them became very successful, and you have some that didn't pan out, that they didn't become, just successful models, and some went back to their old jobs. Some have started new businesses, and some of them are entrepreneurs, which is great. Not everyone's going to make it in the modeling industry, and it's quite hard. It is. You have to break those barriers, and a lot of women did. And Tyler Banks did that for these young women. The season ended in 2018. I just want to make sure I got my notes right. 2018. That's a long time. You know what I mean? Then it started to plummet down, and they were doing too much. They were doing too much and doing too hard, trying to make the ratings go up, and it just didn't work out. And then they even fired her. They fired her and let her go. You see how irony works? When you do things to other people and it comes back to you, and then they let her go. Yeah, it ended in 2018, and it ran its course, and it's over. You know what I mean? It's over. Anyway, you guys, that's all I have to say about that. But let's move on to our next topic. Leslie Wexner, okay? He did a Depo yesterday, okay? February 19, at an Oversight House committee. And again, he did it in his own home, okay? He did it somewhere near his home. And I have to say, and I watched the whole deposition, and me watching it and I'm giving my perspective of this. He's full of shit, number one. Number two, he was forthcoming at a lot of things. For example, he mentioned Rothschild. He mentioned of Epstein dealing with Rothschild, mentioning, I'm trying to remember, other people, high powerful people. He didn't answer certain questions. He just keeps saying he doesn't recall. At least he didn't plead the fifth and follow the money. Because why would this man, who was a founder of Limited, he did Victoria's Secret, among other companies and stores that he has done. He's worth $9-point-something billion. This man, okay, he's 88 years old. My thing is, why this man estimately gave Jeffrey Epstein over $1 billion of stocks, money, transfer, and you don't recall, you don't remember? And this was a 5-hour testimony, a 5-hour deposition, okay, yesterday. And if you don't recall. And the thing is, Epstein was the primary client of Wexner, okay, from 1991 until 2017, before these two men had a falling out, okay? You gave this man, Wexner gave Epstein full access of his money, making him the beneficiary Why? Why? Unless Epstein has something on you, some dirt, that you probably did something inappropriately, and then Epstein said, well, I'm going to expose you, and this is just my theory here. Epstein probably told him, when he was alive, Epstein said, I'm going to expose you because I got you on video, I got you on audio, okay, that you were doing some naughty things with underage girls. So if you don't give me what I want, and Wexner's probably say, what do you want? I want all your money. I want all of it. I want to have full control. I want to be the beneficiary. And Wexner said, you're bluffing. Oh, am I? Boom. And Epstein showed him the video, and Wexner was probably shocked and disbelief and frightened. And if that video would have got exposed, would have got leaked out, everything would have been over for Wexner. So what did Wexner do? He complied. He complied with Epstein's demands. And what did Wexner did? He gave Epstein what he wanted, full control of the man's money. That's just my theory, and that makes more sense. And for this man who said you don't remember, you don't recall, that could be a possibility because he is old. He's 88. You know, your memory can be fuzzy. However, he knows more than he says. He knows more than he's saying. Excuse me. Okay? And I don't believe anything that he had to say. I really don't. I feel like he was full of shit, and he said a little bit too much because his lawyer even said, shut the F up. And I'm going to show you that footage right now, what his lawyer had to say, because Wexner said a lot of things. He was very cooperative with what I have to say. But just think about it. You have this billionaire among other billionaires, okay? And then there's more billionaires going to be doing depositions, stuff like that, in the Oversight House Committee. You think that they're just going to go in there and say, yes, I did have some sex with underage girls. I did multiple times. Get serious here. They're not going to confess. They kept quiet and silent for years, you guys, years. And you think now they're going to spill the beans? No. At least it's on record, yes. But they're not going to spill the beans. They're not going to confess now because they've been silent for years. Okay? For years. And you think that Leslie Wexner or Leon Black, who else is on the list? Bill Gates, David Copperfield, among other billionaires or other people out there. You think they're just going to go? They'll probably plead the fifth. They'll probably cooperate, but they're not going to be stupid enough. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. They're not going to be stupid enough and sit there with their lawyer and just spill the beans. They're not going to do it because they haven't done it before. What makes you think they're going to do it now? But take a listen to Leslie Wexner and his deposition on Thursday.
Video released Thursday of a 5-hour deposition of retail magnate Les Wexner shows the billionaire repeatedly insisting he knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, adding that law enforcement had never spoken with him.
Did you at any time ever consider him to be a close friend?
No. As I look back at it, I was conned by the World Olympic.
Pause. First of all, he's playing victim. You're a con. Bullshit. I can just say that straight out. Bullshit. He was not being conned. He knew exactly who he was dealing with. He knew exactly what he was doing. And another thing you just heard, the DOJ never reached out to him, never questioned him. That tells you that they were trying to cover it up. They were trying to cover it up because they never questioned him. They never asked him anything. So the DOJ knew about this. And Pam, she's incompetent. She's an idiot. She's an incompetent woman. I just don't understand why she never questioned this man, do her investigation or anything like that. It's just pitiful. It's just disgusting, and it's a shame. So to me, they were all covering it up. They knew what was up. The jig is up, and they decided not to question him, not to question anyone because they knew who was on the files. And they had no choice to release it because Congress demanded them to release the 3 million files, where there's still other 3 million left, which they refused to do, which they should have released all of them, because that's what Congress told them to do, to release everything, not release half. Don't do a half-ass, release all of them. But the other half is the other people's names. Release it all. You redacted the billionaires' names. You might as well release all of them. But that's not going to happen unless the Congress or some type of judge intervenes and tell them to release everything. So I'm sorry, my guy. Stop playing victim. You knew what you were getting yourself into. You knew the type of man he was because he was a registered sex offender, and you still dealt with him because you were being naughty. You were being disgusting, and you were probably being a predator, allegedly, even though his name is named as a co-conspirator, but still, his hands was in the cookie jar, and he was doing something inappropriate that he shouldn't have done. An old, dirty man. Okay, so stop playing victim. Leslie, excuse me.
All-time con artist. And you look at, I read in the news all the people he knew, royalty, kings, princes, and all that. An incredible con artist.
Has the FBI or DOJ ever directly contacted you or spoken to you about?
Not to my knowledge.
Never.
Never.
Did you speak
Shame.
to any law enforcement agency of any kind regarding Jeffrey
Not even the FBI reached out to him. Isn't that something?
Epstein's investigation in New York in 2019?
Never didn't. No, I don't remember ever talking to any law enforcement agency.
At one point, his lawyer, Michael Levy, whispered some advice.
Answer not the question. 5 words, okay?
He's laughing. He said, shut the fuck up, his lawyer said, because you're saying too much. You're saying too much to incriminate you. No, say more. Say more. Spill it out, Wexner. Spill it out. But his lawyer's telling him no. Check out the another part of the deposition.
Your client can still just urge you to answer the question.
That's fine. Question. I think the answer is no, but let's.
Did you ever introduce any woman or girl that you met through Miss Maxwell to any of your friends or associates?
No, never.
Did Miss Maxwell ever visit your home in New Albany, Ohio?
I don't recall.
Lies. Look at that. Don't recall.
We're going to discuss your business relationship with Mr. Epstein in more detail later, but did Miss Maxwell ever play a role in your business relationship with Epstein?
Oh, never, none.
I think he's going to tell the truth.
During your relationship with Miss Maxwell, did she ever represent or inform you that she was a part of any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
No.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell?
No.
When did you hire Mr. Epstein to officially work for you?
I think it was about the mid-'80s.
Do you have any recollection of how long you knew Mr. Epstein prior to you hiring him?
Not specifically. Maybe I met him and that visit in the car, and maybe it was 6 months or a year later that I asked Bob about, I needed somebody to help me. And I think he said, did you talk to Jeffrey Epstein? And I think so. I'm guessing from when I met him first to actually having a conversation, it was probably a year.
Just to clarify, that's not actually the time that you hired him, though. That's the time you had the conversation.
Yeah, yes, that's
for the record.
I wanted to share with you the Rothschild. When he mentioned the Rothschild, I'm trying to remember what is that. Let's just see. Give me 1 second, you guys. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Wexner, is it true that you submitted a statement to the committee this morning?
Yes, I did.
I will now.
Okay. Well, I'll look for that. Look at the next footage of a CNN reporter. Oh, I forgot her name. Now I'll go watch CNN. But Kay, her name? Anyway, I'm throwing a blank here. I can't remember her name. But she was questioning one of the women who was questioning Les Wexner of this deposition and to check out what she had to say, because I found it very fascinating what she reported on the whole deposition of Wexner's reactions and response, what he had to say about Jeffrey Epstein. Take a listen.
We were in the room. We were not. Did you find Les Wexner to be believable?
I went in with a very earnest attempt to ask questions and was hoping to get as many substantive answers as possible from Les Wexner. It is very hard to believe him based on the questions that were asked and the responses that were given, and I'll elaborate on that. As you very well just outlined, Caitlin, there was a decades-long relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Les Wexner. He had power of attorney over his finances. He gave him almost $1 billion, even though it's pretty unclear what exactly he was doing, and those questions were asked. When we asked today, and I asked him this question about the nature of their relationship, were you guys friends? Did you consider yourself to have a personal relationship? Obviously, this is someone you trusted with so much of your life. He said no.
Yeah, so he said no, but you trusted him with your money. Like, we all know what's happening here. We're not idiots. We know what's happening. He was being blackmailed. Point blank period, you guys. He was being blackmailed. Okay, for him to say that he was not his friend, he didn't really trust him. The man, Jeffrey Epstein, blackmailed Wexner because Jeffrey Epstein had something on him. Okay, and that's why he gave him power of attorney. That's why he gave him access to all his money and gave him money, because Epstein was a spy, allegedly, Messiah, or whatever. For a man who has so many passports with different names, you're trying to tell me you're not a spy? You're trying to tell me you're not working for the Mossad? You're not trying to tell me you're not an intelligent agency or something like that? Get serious here. We're not stupid here, okay? So even though he said that they're not friends or whatever, the man has something on you. He had something on you, blackmail, and he was going to expose that if he did not cooperate and meet his demands. And obviously, he met his demands. And the thing is, why they don't subpoena his finances? Follow the money. Even the victims and survivors said it to all of the people from the committee. Just follow the money. If you follow the money, there's going to be a paper trail. So what they need to do, they need to subpoena Mr. Wexner finances and see what's happening from the day that he met Epstein until they had a falling out in 2017. If you follow the money, there's going to be a paper trail. There always is. I'm just saying, there's always a paper trail. If they do that, get that subpoena, and then they will know. They will get to the bottom of the truth.
And he took on the same sort of demeanor that we've seen from many other men who talk about their relationships with Jeffrey Epstein, whether that be President Trump, who now, acts like they barely knew each other, to Howard Lutnick, who had to change course when it was revealed that he went to Epstein's Island.
Liars.
This was very similar. It was no, we weren't good friends. We didn't have a personal relationship. He simply was my advisor. Then we'd ask him questions about, why he trusted him with so much money, despite it being reported that many of his close advisors at the time advised against it. He said he didn't remember. So because of that.
Lies. Of course he remembers. She's just not going to say it. He's not going to tell the truth. Come on. He's smarter than we realize, okay? Even though he's old, he's not fragile, he's not going to spill the beans, okay? He's been silent for this long. You think he's going to open his mouth and finally confess? Yes, I had some inappropriate sex with underage girls. Yes. And other people, of course not. Let's get serious here. Of course not. He's not going to spill the beans. He's not. And it will never happen. They're going to keep this to their graves until they die. Okay, they're going to keep it in their grave. Until the last dying breath. They're not going to spill anything unless they follow the money. If you follow the money, you will get to the truth. Keep saying, and the victims keep saying, follow the money. Follow the money, and you will get your answer.
Very basic question, not receiving a response that I felt was believable. It was hard to trust. I
don't trust him, and it was not believable to me. Okay, not believable. He knows more than he's saying. Obviously, he has his attorney. His attorney is advising him what to say, what not to say to not incriminate him. Because if he incriminate himself, he will spend the rest of his 88 years or maybe more in prison, okay? And he don't want that because he's old. He's old and fragile, but he should have thought about that before he put his hand in a cookie jar. This is the next clipping of the
Why
reporting.
he thinks he was listed as a co-conspirator in a Justice Department document?
Essentially, yes. I mean, people asked him if he's familiar with various allegations made in the files, including the one from Virginia Giuffre. He said he wasn't really familiar. He'd become familiar in recent weeks in preparation for this deposition. He was asked, what knowledge he may have had of any of Epstein's, wrongdoings or any of that, and he completely denied that. But what I will say, I think, was the most revealing part of today's deposition, because he was not giving us much information. But when we did ask him, you were in fact mentioned, sir, in the Epstein files. Your name comes up a lot, and you're listed as a possible co-conspirator with these allegations. Has the DOJ ever talked to you, or have the FBI ever come to question you? And he said no. And that was shocking to all of us, because when you think of Jeffrey Epstein, you think of Les Wexner. I mean, there's no name that I have heard more from the victims after I hear about, Ghislaine and Jeffrey himself than Les Wexner. Say, follow the money. The fact that the Department of Justice has...
Oh, why should that be surprising to them? Why? That's my question. Why? Hold that thought, you guys. Okay, let me come back. Sorry. I had to upload something. Why should I be surprised? Of course the DOJ is going to cover it up. Of course they're not going to be transparent because they don't want the truth to come out. So yeah, I'm not surprised they didn't question Leslie Wexner among other people. I'm not surprised about that. Neither should them, because Trump knows who these people are and he's protecting them. He's protecting these predators. He is. And the crazy thing is, it's not going to go well for his legacy that once he's out of office, that he, this whole time, even though he's doing great things, closing the border, making our economic comedy great, whatever, still, at the end of the day, you don't want your legacy to end that you are protecting predators, you're protecting perverts, pedophiles for what? What does he have to gain by protecting them? Why he cannot expose them? He is the president of the United States. He has the power. Unless they threaten his family, but he's the president. Okay, I get it that maybe he's scared because what happened to him when he almost got assassinated. Sometimes you got to let the fear get out of your head and do the right thing and protect the innocents. That's the most important thing. Protect the innocents. Protect the children. I don't understand why not protect the children. Why continue to protect the pedophiles, the perverts, the predators? These are innocent children here that don't have a say, that don't have a voice. I don't understand that. Is money and power more important than protecting children? I don't get it. This is how our society is now. I'm starting to realize that now, but it's just so hard for me to comprehend that's how it is. This is how the world is now. This is how the world works, that the predators, the pedophiles are more protected than our children, the innocents. I don't understand this. Like, we are so ass backwards. We are. And foreign countries are laughing at us, laughing at the Americans. These Americans, they're stupid. They're dumb. You see? They can't even protect their own people. You see what they're doing? At least with foreign countries, they cover it up and they don't say shit. At least I give them that respect. They don't say nothing. They cover it up and they say nothing, not even an ounce. But they don't want that promoted this. They don't want that advertises. They don't want that campaign of transparency. We're going to release the files. We're going to get answers. We're going to arrest these people. And then once they're in office and they saw the names of the people that they know who were involved with Epstein orbit and Epstein global massive sex ring operation, they say, holy what? We can't expose them. We can't do anything, President Trump. We got to shut it down. So what we need to do, we need to do this press and say there's nothing there. It's a Democrat host. We just have to say something. We have to shut it down because no, we can't expose these names. That's what President Trump was saying. That's what Pam Bondi was saying. That's what Cash Patel was saying. And Dan Mangione, he just like I said yesterday, he saw the names. He said, "Holy shit, I got to get out. I can't do anything. This is above my pay rate. I can't do anything. I can't make arrests. I can't make demands because they're going to come after me and my family. So I got to go." That's what Dan Mangione said. I got to go. I have to leave. Goodbye. Because I can't do anything. I can't get in. I can't go. I have to go. Such what's happening with Charlie Kirk. I have to go. And sure enough, he was smart enough to leave, even though he was a dumbass. He didn't do his part. He didn't do his job. He took the easy way out, the coward way out. And I get it. But people have to say, well, he had to do what he had to do. It was above his pay rate. He didn't have that access, whatever. I don't care. He was the FBI deputy or whatever. That was his job, to serve and protect and get answers. But anyway, that's here and there. Okay. My point is, they all knew who these people were, the co-conspirators, the billionaires, the tech, the wealthy people, and they said, let's just shut it down. Let's just give the people what they want, give them half of the files, and then that's it. That's it. Give them half the files, and then they will shut up, and then now it's okay. No, we can't shut up about this. This has been going on for decades. This has been going on for 2006, 2007. They knew about this man for so long, and they decided not to do anything. And I believe, and I forgot to mention that to you yesterday or the day before, when in Palm Beach, Jeffrey Epstein paid someone from the inside to let him know if there's any information, if there's any investigation, let me know. And that's exactly what they did. Someone told him and gave him a heads up, and that's how he got rid of all the evidence, because he got the higher up. So Jeffrey Epstein paid people from the inside. Okay, money talks. I don't give a damn what anyone tells me. Money talks and bullshit walk. So when you offer someone a whole bulk of money, you don't think they're going to be influenced? You don't think they're going to do what they need to do to give information to Jeffrey Epstein so people can pay their bills or whatever? Get serious here. This is the world that we live in here. People think about money more than doing the right thing. Think about that. And that is the truth. People think about people think about money more, than doing the right thing. They don't care about their integrity. They don't care about doing the right thing, protecting young children, innocence. They don't care about that. As long as you give them a price, they're willing to forget about anything. And that's how it goes. That's how it goes. It's a disgrace.
Has not investigated this, I think further points to the cover-up from this administration, the fact that either Pam Bondi is completely incompetent at doing her job,
sure is,
which is the nicest way of saying it, or she...
No, that's not a nice version. You're absolutely correct, ma'am. Okay, Pam Bondi is incompetent. She's an idiot. She doesn't know what she's doing. She should be fired. Resign and fired. What the hell she's working? I don't know why she's there. Why she's in the DOJ? Why she's working? She's not doing anything. She's not doing a God. Well, let me not use the God's name in vain. I'm sorry, Lord. She's not doing anything. She's just a piece of shit as a human being. Piece of shit, disgrace, shame. Shame on her. Not acknowledge the victims, not saying I'm sorry, no accountability. That hearing was just a shame. It's just absolutely disgusting. Okay, so she's right. She's absolutely right. Now, before I continue on, let me just pull up this one video of Leslie Wexner, how he mentioned the Rothschild. I just want to pull that up really quick for you guys. So bear with me. I thought I did, but all these videos that I'm posting and everything, it's just crazy. You know, trying to keep up with everything. That's a lot. It's a lot. But I'm pushing through, you guys. So I really appreciate your patience and all this thing, but it's just not easy. It is not easy. Give me 1 minute, you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, where is it? I'm losing time. There we go. Okay. All right. I just put it there. Just to make sure I got it. I don't think I did. Okay, I did. Perfect.
He is purposefully and intentionally avoiding investigating some of the most important people in this case. And
But I think,
I have said before, I think
when you hear that, I mean, it's stunning because it's not, if he says he's never spoken to the Justice Department, it's not just the Pam Bondi run Justice Department. That means also the one under President Biden, the previous DOJ under President Trump that was trying to prosecute Jeffrey Epstein, obviously, and then ultimately did prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, that seems pretty stunning to see someone who, maybe he doesn't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. He's certainly denied it and he's never been charged, but it is pretty wild that he would not be questioned.
I agree.
Given the proximity.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, I think though that it's less so indicative of the fact that he doesn't have any information, but more so of the ongoing cover-up, not just during this administration, but over decades, and a refusal to look into these. I mean, as we know, and you've spoken to many of the victims on your show, there are so many victims who filed reports with the FBI that were not investigated properly. And the fact that Virginia Giuffre mentions Les Wexner as a name.
Well, then what the FBI are here for then? Why are we paying our tax-paying dollars for them to do their job? They're not doing their job. So it doesn't even really matter, you guys, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't really matter because even though you give a sworn statement to the FBI, they're not going to follow through. They're not going to do their investigation. They're full of shit. I'm saying it. They're full of shit. The FBI, CIA, MI6, all of them, all the government are corrupt and full of shit. So don't come and kill me, okay? And I'm not suicidal. I have to say that. Because now these days you have to say stuff like that. Because people can just come up to your home and shoot you in the head, God forbid. Or put a bomb in your car, make it look like a suicide, make it look like an accident. It's sad to say that. We have to say this in this day and age. We have to. That's what I'm saying. I am not suicidal. Please don't come after me. I'm just giving my thoughts and my opinions. Okay? And I'm just assessing everything. We're reviewing. This is the last week of reviewing and analyzing everything that has been transparent this week. With the Epstein, with Charlie Kirk, with everything. Okay? I'm just reviewing. Nancy Godfrey, I'm just reviewing everything. And I have to say, everything is connected. And I can't speak. The one common denominator is Epstein. That's all I hear. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. He's a common denominator of everything, except for the exception of Charlie Kirk. But hey, with Erica Kirk, her involvement, I don't know. But it seemed like he's the top of the pyramid, Epstein, and the rest are just along in it. Okay? So it's not a coincidence, and I don't believe in coincidence. It's all connected somehow, some shape or form. Do I have proof? Do I have evidence? No, but I'm working on it. I have a bill. I have a board. You can kind of say like a vision board. I have it all because none of it make sense. None of it at all. Continue.
Name of a person she was trafficked to, and to me, she's a very credible victim and witness in all of this. That is concerning that nobody has done so, and I think that is really the next phase here. Of course,
someone needs to do their jobs. Like the FBI, again, I don't know why they're there. I don't understand why they're there. What is the full purpose? I need someone to break it down to me like I'm 5. What are the FBI are there for? What are their jobs? I need to know the criteria. I need to know what they do. I really do. Because apparently they're not doing it. So I need someone to break it down. If one of the viewers or someone can tell me what the FBI, what are their main duties? What are their jobs? Because apparently they're not doing anything. They're just doing the bare minimum. So I need someone to explain that to me. I need someone to break it down because they're not performing. They're not doing anything. They're doing less, and they're repaying our tax-paying dollars to them, to other people, and they're not doing anything. It's like us, we have to take charge, the internet sleuths, we have to do it. We have to do their job, and we're not even getting paid for it. We have to do our own investigation, dig up some dirt, dig up dig up some answers, okay, if that makes sense, and put the pieces together like a puzzle and assess everything and investigate, because they're not investigating. They didn't even question this man. They didn't. I believe they didn't even question anyone that was involved in this, because they know they're following instructions by somebody. Obviously, there's always someone higher up, okay? And I get it. There's some dirty FBIs and there's some good ones, and I understand. At the end of the day, they have a job to do, and then they have to follow rules and regulations. They have to follow their boss, and there's always someone higher up. I get that, but I just don't understand why people don't want to do the right thing anymore. It's like people are fearful of doing the right thing, and I get it. You have family, you have people that you have to protect. Then why be the FBI then? Why serve and protect and put your hand on the Bible that you're going to do what you're supposed to do, and you decide not to do it? I don't understand. If it's too much for you and you've seen too much and you've seen the corruption, then why continue to be the FBI? Is the money that much worth it? I don't know. I don't know, you guys. It doesn't make any sense. I just feel like there's no integrity anymore. There's no honesty. There's no one out there to do the right thing for this doesn't continue to happen again. And I understand there's going to be sex trafficking. I know that sex trafficking been going on for a very, very long time. I'm totally aware of that. I'm not naive by that. However, they know about this man, Jeffrey Epstein, that he's been having sex with underage girls and running a massive global sex trafficking ring for decades. They knew about this, and they could have put an end to this and stopped it. They decide not to because he is in intelligence. He was working for the intelligence. He was working for the Mossad. I don't know. I do know, actually. Allegedly, I'm going to say. And they decided to protect him. Because I don't understand why one man, have multiple passports with different names. Last time I checked, that's illegal. That's a criminal thing. You go to jail. Shit, you go to prison. By having multiple passports with fake names. But for him, he got a bypass, I guess. It's okay. It's no problem. Because you were working for the Mossad. So you can have 20 passports with different names. It's okay, my guy. It's okay. But anyway, last video that I'm going to share with you guys. And this is so outrageous. I'm just so disgusted by this. I really am. And now I'm so happy that my eyes are wide open and I see what's going on. I see what's going on in our own government. That's why I don't trust the government. My husband, he's more, what's the word? He has more faith in our government. And I just tell you, and I don't want to say this because I don't want to start a debate. He's naive. He's naive. He don't know no better. He's more critical than me. You know what I mean? But he believes in our justice system. He believes in our government. And he has to learn the hard way. He's going to see. And I even told him that. I told him, remember our conversation on February 13th? Just remember. And we're going to look back. Like I said in my previous video, we're going to look back and you're going to, and it doesn't, and I don't want to be that I say that I'm right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. I'm just giving a point here that there's not going to be any justice. There's not going to be any investigation. It's not going to be none of that because it's going to be shut down. The only way that's going to be an investigation and things going to come out if Congress do something about it. You have the UK actually doing something about it because they arrested former Prince Andrew, okay? And he is released now, in which I'm going to show you a clipping of that. But let me just show you this clipping of Leslie Wexner mentioning the Rothschild of Epstein dealing with them. See what I'm saying? All connected. But take a listen.
Work for the Rothschild family in France. Well, specifically, I talked to Ellie de Rothschild, and so I mentioned that earlier. So he represented their whole family, so there have been a whole bunch of people. Most of them I never would have met, but I knew Ellie. He would say, like, I'm providing financial advice to the founders of Google. I'm providing financial advice to Jeff Bezos.
Answer the question. 5 words, okay?
Answer
the question.
Okay.
So you heard it, Rothschild. Anyway, crazy, right? Crazy. What to make of all this? What to make of Leslie Wexner in deposition? Was he telling the truth? Was he forthcoming of the question that was given to him? Do you believe that he was honest of the question that was given to him? Or do you believe, you guys, and please drop it in the comments, please, that he's full of shit? And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts, because I am open to any suggestion, you guys. This is a safe space for all of you guys, okay? I am not going to judge. I really would love to get your opinions, your perspective of everything that I have discussed this week. Again, this is all review and analyzing. That's what we're doing. Analyzing and reviewing everything that things has been transparent this week. So please drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. And the last video that I'm going to show you, former Prince Andrew was arrested. Now he's released, and now he's being investigated. This is why, listen, I would never move to the UK, but I like what they're doing. They're doing more than what our government is doing. They're taking action. And even though former Prince Andrew, is not being charged for allegedly having sex with Virginia Giuffre when she was 17. However, he's being charged for misconduct of public office, releasing information to Jeffrey Epstein when he was alive. And it's still ongoing investigation. And once they gather all that information, it turns out to be incredibly true, he's going to prison. Okay? Now, and he continues to say his innocence. He continues to say he didn't do anything wrong. But you know what? Even though he will never confess, because he's not going to confess, he's going to take this to his grave, okay, until God takes him home. But at least once the investigation is done and they find out that he's been leaking information to Jeffrey Epstein, the 88-year-old is going to prison. And that's good enough for me. Even though he will never confess, but that's still good enough for me. And I keep saying, when things are hidden in the dark, God is going to bring it to the light, and God is punishing everyone. You see, former Prince Andrew, he's just the beginning. He's number one. God is coming after everyone. Everyone. And I truly believe that. I truly believe you can't just get away with stuff for decades, thinking that it's not going to catch up to you, thinking that you're not going to get your karma. Because karma is a real thing. It really is. It doesn't happen right away. They think they're safe. They think that the DOJ, the FBI, they're not going to arrest them. There's not going to be any charges. God always make a way. And I always say that, and I'm a true believer in that. I really do. God protects the innocents. God seeks justice for people who done wrong, and our justice system won't do it. God is going to take care of it. And that's what's happening in the UK. That's what's happening in the UK, you guys. And it's just the beginning. And I even said it last year. This year is going to be the year that a lot of people are going to be exposed. Their names are going to be exposed. Will there be arrests made? I doubt it. But names are going to be exposed. And there's other ways to put these perverts, okay, these predators, and lock them up and throw away the key, and they will never see the light of day, and they will never hurt innocent children ever again. They all need to be arrested, all of them. And it needs to be investigated, all of it, all of it. Stop hiding, stop protecting, release it all. Investigate everyone that was involved. They have the videos. What more proof do you want? They have the videos. I don't understand. Again, they're protecting them. And to me, all of them are pathetic. The Trump administration, I'm sorry, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and I voted for him. I voted for him. And for him to do that, I'm sorry, I can't. I can't support this. I can't support Trump administration. I can't. I cannot. Because children are innocent. These are God's children. Okay? For them to do that to God's children, that's where it stops for me. Full stop. I'm sorry. I can't continue with this. I can't continue supporting MAGA. I'm independent now. I am not a Republican. I'm definitely not Democrat. I'm definitely not liberal. Hell no. I am independent and I'm conservative. And when it comes to children, all bets are off. When it comes to children, I'm crazy. Okay, I don't even have children of my own, but I have 4 nieces. And I told each of their parents, if anything happens to them, let me know. Let me know. Okay? And that's not even a threat. Let me know. Because I would die for those 4 children. And they're not even my own. And I didn't even give birth to them. Okay? Children are innocent. They're beautiful. Okay? They're God creation. And for anybody can just hurt them and just abuse them. It's just sick and demented. And I just don't understand how these men, these rich men, get off of having inappropriate behavior with children like that. It's disgusting. It's sick. It's demonic. And they should be ashamed of themselves. And Trump administration should be ashamed of themselves allowing this and not doing anything about it. It's just sickening to me. And I'm just very deep and passionate about that because children are everything. They're God's children. They're innocent and precious. And again, they don't have the voice to speak up. They don't know. And they're scared, fearful, crying for their parents, for their loved one, and no one can help them and save them. But we have this government that's so powerful that can stop this and end this cycle. I'm not saying that sex trafficking will ever stop because it's all over, it's global. But they can stop it from now because it keeps going from every president, from Bush, Biden, Obama, Trump, then Trump again. It's like, when does it end? Where does it end? Where does it lie that enough is enough? And it needs to be stopped because if it's not stopped, it's going to continue to cycle after cycle and just like, what is the point? You guys, what is the point? Anyhow, I'm sorry that I'm rambling on. It just, when it comes to children, I'm sorry, I have a soft spot and I just don't understand how anyone don't have a heart. I just don't understand how anyone can sleep at night. Pam, President Bush, Kash Patel, what a fucking loser. Excuse my language today. He's a fucking idiot. So is Pam. Okay, I just don't understand how these people can just look at other people in the face and say there's nothing there. That we don't have any Epstein just sex trafficking himself. It's just him and Ghislaine. I don't understand how they can just say that to people with a straight face and lie, thinking that we are stupid, like we are dumb. It's utterly disgusting. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. It's Friday. I want to remain calm. And I've been cursing out of my ass, and I just have to repent. I really do. After I get off, I have to repent because it's just heartbreaking. It really is. It's just heartbreaking because if it was my children, God forbid, if someone did that, oh my gosh, you might as well kill me. You might as well kill me. I just wouldn't allow it. I just wouldn't just sit there and just let this happen. I will go end of the earth to fight for my children if someone put any harm on my kids. I will not back away. I will not let go. No, you have to kill me first. I will not shut up. I will not stay quiet, stay silent. You don't even give me any papers to sign, any NDA, none of that stuff. I would tell you to get the F out of my face. Because when it comes to my children, there's nothing I wouldn't do for my children. I would die for my children. I would die for my children. And anyone put harm in my children, God forbid, let the Lord be with me and with you as well. But anyway, let me just remain calm and let me just show you the last video of former Prince Andrew was arrested and now he is released and now he's being fully investigated of his misconduct crime. Take a listen.
Proved to be the most high-profile fallout from the Epstein files. You are looking at a photo of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the brother of the reigning king, Charles III, slouched down in the back of an SUV after his release from police custody today. The man formerly known as Prince Andrew was arrested this morning in a raid on his cottage on the King's Estate in Norfolk. It is the first arrest of a senior royal since the 1640s. And it follows new revelations about Mountbatten Windsor's business dealings with the late convicted sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein. He has previously denied all wrongdoing, and yet here we are. Imtiaz Tayyab has more on what led to this extraordinary arrest. Imtiaz, good evening.
Tony, good evening. Well, after nearly 12 hours in police custody, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been released, but can be rearrested at any time as officers continue to investigate whether he shared confidential government information with Jeffrey Epstein.
The image is stark.
A former prince after being questioned by police and released, but not cleared. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested earlier today after 6 unmarked police vehicles arrived at Sandringham, a private estate owned by his brother, King Charles. Their arrival was quiet, but the rupture in the monarchy's long-managed distance from the law was heard around the world after officers crossed one of the most protected thresholds in Britain. In a brief statement, police confirmed the arrest of a man in his 60s on suspicion of misconduct in public office, and that some searches were ongoing.
Keep calm and carry on.
Julian Payne is a former communications director for King Charles and a CBS News royal contributor.
This has been a huge shock in the UK. It's been a huge shock for the royal family. But as you've seen in the statement that the King made today, his view is clear. No one is above the law.
What's your reaction to your brother's arrest?
Just hours after his brother's arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office, King Charles carried on with a scheduled appearance, despite being asked about the arrest. But the King did release a rare personal statement saying he viewed the matter with the deepest concern and that the law must take its course. Buckingham Palace has said neither the King nor the Palace was informed in advance, though the British government has said it was. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been shadowed by the Epstein scandal for years, worsened by this disastrous 2019 BBC interview.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady.
He later paid an apparent multi-million-dollar settlement with accuser Virginia Giuffre and lost all of his royal titles. Now, newly released material, including this image of him and an unidentified woman, as well as emails allegedly showing him sharing confidential reports with Epstein while serving as a UK trade envoy from 2001 to 11, has sharply raised the legal stakes. Today, the family of Giuffre welcomed the arrest.
This is the beginning of the web. This is the thread that we need to continue to pull to uncover the further allegations.
Now, to be clear, at this stage, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is not being investigated over allegations of the sexual exploitation of young women or underage girls and has always denied any wrongdoing. But if he is charged with misconduct in public office and later convicted, the former prince could face life in prison. Tony.
MTS, thank you very much.
That's it. Well, life in prison. And I like the fact that his brother, King Charles, said no one is above the law. This is why I like UK. They mean business, okay? They're not bullshitting. They're not being around the bush. They're taking care of business. Then they're going to investigate. Even though it may be painful for King Charles, but you got to take accountability. And like he said, no one's above the law. No one. So therefore, there's going to be further investigation. They're going to get to the bottom of this, the suspicious misconduct of public office, to see if former Prince Andrew has done some crazy deeds, which he has. Okay, and the truth will come out. It always does. The truth always prevails. You cannot hide away from the truth. You cannot. You can be hidden in the dark for so long, but I keep saying, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, is going to bring everything to the light. He's going to expose everyone, and it's coming. It's coming. You wait and see. Don't take my word for it. It is coming, and we're going to look back, and we're going to say, yes, it is coming. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining me here on live. I really appreciate you. I hope everyone has a wonderful Friday evening and a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. God bless, and I will see you guys on the next live. Love you all. Take